Hello and welcome. My name is Alan Fuso Stewart. I'm an apprentice Zen teacher and social worker, and for a while now I've been wanting to speak out and offer some teachings just based on a lot of what I see going on in the world and what the people around me are struggling with. I think many of us are struggling with some of the same things. The basis of anything that I would offer is going to be found in the practice of meditation. Zen is founded on sitting meditation, and so I'm going to be talking for quite a while. There'll probably be a series of talks, but the first of those will cover how to actually meditate, because if we can't experience ourselves as we really are, then we're going to be tossed around on the sea of the life events that we experience. And certainly the sea right now is pretty stormy, and so one could argue the sea has always been stormy. So with that in mind, I'd like to offer some teachings on meditation. So I'm just going to talk you through it and follow along, pause if you need to, and we'll see where we end up. So the first thing is there's no points for machismo. You'll want to find a comfortable sitting position. The most important thing is that your hips are above your knees. So you don't have to be sitting in the lotus position like this. You can be sitting in a chair. One thing some people will do is they will put some kind of pillow like this behind them in the chair, and that enables them to sit up straight. You can also put a pillow under yourself. The idea is just hips above knees. You want to kind of rock forward and back and find a place where your back is naturally straight, not rigid. But the idea here is that we're freeing up the breathing apparatus, right? We want to be able to actually, when we breathe in, we want our diaphragm to expand. So we want to go, when we breathe out, the diaphragm collapses. So we're going to use breathing as a way of working with our mind. And to do that, we're just going to count our breaths. So we're going to breathe in. That's one. And then two. It's not necessary to breathe audibly or in the exaggerated way that I'm doing. I'm just doing that for the sake of teaching. So I'm just going to go. So we count 1, 2, and we go to 10. So as we breathe, 1, 2, 3, and if we have a thought, I gotta remember to pick up milk at the grocery store tomorrow, right? Whatever the thought is, we notice it, we let it go, and we go back to 1. So it's like, I'm really nervous about that review I have to do tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4. And your breath can be as long or as short as is natural, right? You don't want to be hyperventilating, but you also don't want to be like extending your breath unnaturally and straining your muscles. So just relax. So this is called mindfulness meditation, and the anchor point of this mindfulness meditation is your breath. So we're just breathing in, putting our focus right here, and we're just if we have a thought, we just notice it, accept it, whatever it is, worries, stressors, fantasies about the future, thoughts about the past, plans, regrets. The job of the mind is to think. And so whatever comes up, whatever thought comes up, it's okay. Just notice it. Let it go. Return to counting your breaths. Something critical I want you to keep in mind is that the point of this is not to get to 10, right? We live in this very achievement-based society where, I got to 10, right? No. The point here is to get to 1, right? If you noticed your thought and you let it go, you noticed your thought, you accepted it, you let it go, you went back to 1, then you engaged in mindfulness, right? So in Zen, one of the most famous Zen teachers was named Dogen, and one of the terms he used is practice enlightenment, right? And in this context, the word practice is not a verb, right? So it's like one thing, practice enlightenment. That the act of practicing is itself enlightenment. So when we sit, when we notice, we let go, that's enlightenment, right? We're no longer being hijacked by our thoughts. Think about how many times something arises in our experience, a thought, another person, an opinion, a stimulus from something at work, a stimulus from a family member who we don't agree with, a stimulus from our conditioned experience, something that happened in childhood and now we're triggered. Something comes up and we become completely consumed by and overtaken by and hijacked by that emotion. And we sort of run off down the track of that feeling, right? And now that expression, that emotion, that feeling is who we are, right? Like road rage, right? You're in the car, something happens, you're cussing that person out, right? In that moment, you are that emotion. Typically when we get hijacked, we don't go anywhere we want to go, right? No one gets hijacked and taken to Disney World, right? When we get hijacked, we get taken to a place we don't want to be. And it's the same thing with our mind, right? When our mind hijacks us, it takes us to places we don't want to be, and it creates suffering. It creates suffering for ourselves, and it creates suffering for others. When we rage at others, we don't have compassion for others, right? It's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick, right? It doesn't work that way. We end up getting sick. And so the foundation of moving beyond that and of creating a life where we're not sort of led around by the nose, right? We're not led around by our emotions. We're not led around by our thoughts and opinions. We have some freedom is being able to notice what comes up, right? And to create a gap, to create a space between what comes up and what we do. And that capacity is actualized in the process of sitting meditation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to sit for a little bit, right? We're just going to breathe in, just going to go 1 to 10. Just 1, 2, right? We're just going to have a thought. You just notice it, let it go. Go back to 1. So if you can even do that for 1 minute a day, it will make a profound difference in your life. Quantity, right? Or I guess number of repetitions is better than a large quantity of meditation at one time. All of the current sort of brain research and mindfulness-driven research suggests that people can see and actualize real change in terms of their sense of well-being and their capacity to be present if they just meditate even for a few minutes a day. So I want to encourage you, if you do breath counting meditation for even a minute, 2 minutes a day, that's a good practice. It's a good start to your practice. And the word practice itself is really critical, because what are we practicing for? Like, if I go to baseball practice, what am I practicing for? I'm practicing for the game. So meditation practice is not practice for more meditation. Meditation practice is practice for life, right? Because it's easy. I'm sitting in my meditation room at home. It's quiet. Everyone's gone to bed. There's nothing to distract me. If a thought comes up, even if it's a really pervasive or challenging thought, I can just be with it, let it go, just accept it. But what happens out in the world when someone has, an opinion that they express to me that I find wildly offensive, or someone's incredibly rude, or someone causes harm to one of my social work clients? How do you notice that? Accept that. Let it go. Come back to being present with that person. Come back to being of service. That's the trick, right? That's what we're practicing for. And we're going to talk more about all of this, but for now, I think it's a good stopping point. So I just want to encourage you to, if you're struggling, right, if things are not going the way you hope in your life, if you're dealing with suffering, a great place to begin is with sitting. I'm coming up on the 25th year of sitting, and I can tell you it has made a profound difference in my life. Just notice, accept, let go. Notice, accept, let it go. Thank you for your time and attention.